Welcome back, and a very special welcome to our next guest. His name is Brian Kennedy. He served for many years as the president of the highly acclaimed Claremont Institute. Is these days the president of American Strategy Group, and also very relevant to what we'll be discussing with him momentarily. He is the chairman of the Committee on the Present Danger of China, and in that role, he is doing incalculably important work, helping the rest of us understand the nature of the threat we face from the Chinese Communist Party and its unrestricted warfare against our country. Brian Kennedy, it's always good to have you with us. Welcome back to Securing America.
Great to be with you, Frank, as always. These are important times, and hopefully, this will be an important discussion.
I think it will, because I want to talk to you about one of the most, I think, urgent lines of effort of our Committee on the Present Danger of China, which I'm proud to be the vice chairman, is the work exposing the extent to which Wall Street, personified by Larry Fink, the president and chairman, I guess, of BlackRock, huge $10 trillion under management fund. The work that he has done, along with counterparts in other organizations there, to move American investment dollars into some very dubious Chinese Communist Party owned or controlled companies. And now they're working on trying to get the investment savings, retirement savings of the public employees of the federal government, both civilian and military, to do the same. Give us sort of the 30,000-foot picture of this, Brian, if you would, and then we'll drill down on some of the particulars of what this means for most especially perhaps our military and their savings.
Well, thank you, Frank. Well, for 30 years, we've had this relationship with Communist China that we were hoping they were going to become a democracy, and that eventually, when they did become a democracy, we would all be part of this global system where there was free trade and good relations and no military conflict and no threat of military conflict. And it was a world that everyone in the United States very much wanted. And so Wall Street really embraced China during this 30 years and have cultivated both in China, and China has cultivated Wall Street to the point today where almost $3 trillion of American investment has gone to communist China to build up their industry, both their military industry, their manufacturing industry, their own financial industry. And we find ourselves today in a situation where in May of 2019, Communist China declared a people's war against the United States, where they said that they would do whatever it took to make sure that they won when it came to relations between the PRC and the United States. You would have thought that would have inspired Wall Street to say, wait a minute, stop. We can't have this. We can't have $3 trillion of American investment supporting communist China if there's going to be a war between our two countries. And so we find ourselves today where we have a very powerful sector of the US, Wall Street, the financial sector of the economy, and they have not rejected communist China, but have further embraced them. And right now, federal employees are going to have, it looks like, their pension funds going to communist China to fund, among other things, the military industrial complex of communist China, which is building very advanced weaponry whose main target is the US military. And when most Americans hear this, their heads blow up because it just doesn't make common sense that we should
Yeah.
be doing such things.
Well, and I assume that's especially the sentiment of those military personnel themselves, that their life savings could be used for the purpose of shortening their lives rather dramatically. Um, Brian, my recollection is that 2 years ago, President Donald Trump was confronted with a similar gambit by the Wall Street crowd, Larry Fink specifically, and this so called Federal Retirement Thrift Investment Board that oversees the thrift savings plan, the federal government's pension fund, the largest pension fund in the world, in fact. Um, am I right? And did Donald Trump say something relevant to today's decision?
Well, you and I sent a letter 2 years ago to President Trump outlining the problems with having federal retirement dollars going to communist China. And the Trump administration, acted almost immediately to make sure that that wouldn't happen. But even though things came from President Trump to his administration, the uh, the administration itself wasn't very good at following through. Secretary of Treasury Mnuchin fought these kind of things, as did other members of the Trump administration. Remember that the Trump administration itself had given trillions of dollars to Larry Fink and BlackRock to manage
Mm-hmm.
during the whole COVID-19 crisis. And so when it came to pulling back and saying no to Chinese investments, that there was a real disconnect there. The Trump administration, even though they believed in holding China to account, did not do a very good job of actually following through. Trump believed in himself, but the administration did not. And this has been the case all through the Biden administration in these first year and a half of the Biden administration, that they're simply following the playbook that whatever Wall Street wants when it comes to communist China is going to go. And
Yeah,
that simply has to stop because, again, it doesn't make common sense. And we really are signing our death warrant by financing communist China this way.
that's exactly right, Brian. And this is why I think it's been such a focus of effort for the Committee on the Present Danger of China, and why it's imperative that those of you listening to this call check out our Mad as Hell campaign, which is a platform that we are using to both raise awareness about the larger problem, but also there's what's called an Align Act campaign there for the thrift savings plan. You can write your elected officials urging them not to permit these kinds of funds from our federal pension fund to be put in the service of our mortal enemy, the Chinese Communist Party. We're going to pause for just a second. We'll be right back with more with Brian Kennedy right after this.